Scott and Gary Streisky back with you on SportsCenter. Last week on this program, our coach Rex Ryan said we need to see a knockout blow delivered by Patrick Mahomes and these Chiefs. No better team. The Panthers have tied it with the Super Bowl champs 27 apiece. 1st and 10 for KC. Mahomes said he could have got out of bounds, but he saw 23 extra yards of open space, so he picks up 33. Chiefs in field goal range. Spencer Schrader, 31 yards to win it at the buzzer, and he does. Should it have even been this close? Let's ask the quarterback, Patrick Mahomes, after another close win.
You want to have some blowouts. You want to be a little calmer in the fourth quarter. But I've always said it can be a good thing as you get to the playoffs and later in the season. Just knowing that you've been in those moments before, and knowing how to kind of attack it, but play by play, not making it too big of a moment. But no, I mean, I would say this more than anybody. I would love to win a game, not by the very last play.
So clearly Patrick Mahomes is also listening to Rex Ryan last week. He said, hey, deliver the big blow to teams you're supposed to do that against. Coach, now you're hearing Patrick Mahomes say it. So how does Kansas City fix it?
Well, that's a great question. Unfortunately, I don't think they have the ability to fix it. Like this team lets every single team hang around. And it's funny, when we look at the schedule, it's like, yeah, they're going to walk through, they're going to win all these games. However, every single team thinks they have a chance to beat you. And that's what happens when you can't deliver the knockout. These teams hang around. Carolina hadn't looked that good on offense ever, in recent history. And so for them to hang around against that great defense, and then you're having a tough time protecting the quarterback. Offensively, you have one player that has speed, and so I'm seeing a slower football team that doesn't get separation down the field. And you're lucky, you're blessed that you have one of the greatest talents we've ever seen play the quarterback position. But I'm telling you, like this year, you win the game because of this guy.
Sure.
All that record is so inflated because, you are who your record says you are. I don't believe it. You are not who your record says you are.
Okay.
You're not knocking people out. Mahomes knows it. Everybody knows the importance of it. We've seen in recent history, all right, last year in Philadelphia, they started off 10-1, and then all of a sudden, all these, winning all these one-score games. The Vikings won 11 one-score games. Both those teams, what they have in common, they both got knocked out in the first round in the playoffs. So to me, there's some concerns there in Kansas City, even though their record's 10-1.
Yeah, their largest margin of victory for the Chiefs came in Week 5 when they doubled up the Saints 26-13. Maybe the knockout blow comes this Friday, Rex, against the Raiders. Ain't that right, Randy?
Wow. That's synonymous with Kansas City. It's like escaping game. They've done it over and over again, but I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing, Devin, that we've become so used to it and almost expect them to win if we know that Patrick Mahomes has the ball or the defense has an opportunity or special teams at this point. They could win it in any way at the last second of the game.
Let's be clear, this is bad for all 31 teams except this team. Like, if this is any other team, we'd be talking about, hey, they're going to be in the playoffs, but they're not going to win. But because it's the Chiefs, and you said it, last year we were like, to get embarrassed on Christmas at this point in the season, this team's done. And they're like, oh, yeah, are we? Let's go win our second straight Super Bowl. So for this team, you want so bad to talk about how whether you coach football or played football, you don't want to play this way this time of the year. You want to not play down to the competition. All of these things. But because it's Mahomes, because it's Andy Reid, you're like, they'll figure it out. Somebody will step up on offense. The defense will get it together with Spags, and they'll be a contenders. And you're going to have to go to Kansas City, Arrowhead, possibly, and take it from them. They're not going to lose a football game in the playoffs. You're going to have to go win. And that, to me, is why Kansas City is so dangerous and why none of us are going to worry about how they win games.
Yeah, no doubt. The thing that shocked me, though, about this game in Carolina was their defense. Bryce Young looked comfortable. Yeah. Bryce Young had a little spirit about him. He was making some plays. That's typically not what happens when you play against that Kansas City defense. They've been the unit that's been kind of the calling card that's been carrying them over the last year. So that was surprising to me. But again, I have a tremendous amount of faith in Spags and that group, so they'll be back. Don't bet against Kansas City.
We talked last week, Coach, at this very desk about, okay, after they lost the Bills, what did we learn, And I said that they're going to go as far as their defense takes them. 15 is great. There's no question Mahomes is the best. Andy Reid's first ballot Hall of Famer. But on the road at Carolina, an offense that has struggled, right? I mean, no turnovers. They did have 5 sacks, but no turnovers and 10 penalties for the entire team for 91 yards. I mean, those are the things that make you concerned. Like, okay, they get out of Carolina with a win, but like they should be blowing out Carolina. And you're right, Bryce Young, who has struggled for much of this year, he's looked better the last couple of weeks. And credit to the young man, 21 of 35, 263 yards. He gets 20 yards rushing as well. Like Bryce Young looked like an NFL quarterback today against a very good defense. But if I'm the Kansas City Chiefs, Mahomes is always going to be Mahomes. But like the way they won last year, Devin, was that defense was so good. And if their defense starts looking good and not great, that's a slight cause for concern.
Andy Reid became a head coach for the first time in 1999. And I remember, I wasn't in the business yet, but I was an ardent fan. I remember thinking, who's Andy Reid? Because he was an assistant with the Packers, wasn't a coordinator. They basically gave him the keys to the Eagles. 13 years there, incredible run. It just got to the point where a change was necessary. And it's been over the top for him in Kansas City. He got to 10 wins this year. It's the 19th time he's won 10 or more games. He's third behind a two-way tie of Don Shula and Bill Belichick. They've got 20 seasons with 10 or more wins. Reid's now had 10 years in a row of 10 or more wins. And when you look at the all-time wins, it's been, when's Belichick going to catch Shula? Bill better come back soon. And he better hope he finds a good quarterback. Because Reid and Mahomes, he's just going to keep going and going and going and up to the top of that list unless Bill comes back and does land in a spot where he can win some right away. Because Andy every year is just putting it together and putting it together.
And Barry, to what you said, I think the Chiefs are one of the few teams who can play a game against Carolina as a defense and be like, oh, this is terrible, 10 penalties, blah, blah, blah. And then the very next week, it looked nothing like that. And that's the thing, that's the treat about watching this team play.
It is, but I'm just saying, like, if you sit here and you look at, you look at Buffalo, you look at a Chargers team that's starting to come on, you look at Baltimore, like, I get it. Like, if you're sitting here, tell me the team from the AFC that makes the Super Bowl, the Chiefs still have to be the favorite, right? Because right now it's still, you still have to go to Arrowhead and beat them. But I'm just saying, like, for anyone that's just saying, like, hey, they got it, it's fine. You can't say that your eyebrows aren't a little bit raised, because I think if Andy Reid were right here and you'd asked him, he'd say, like, no, we're not playing the way I expected us to be playing by week 12 in our third season when we're back-to-back Super Bowl champions.
But if you go back, and that's the one concern I have about the Lions, the Lions have been on this roll for a while. And it's hard to keep going and going and going and then go play your best in the playoffs and then through the Super Bowl. You almost like to have a hiccup 3/4 of the way through the season
where you keep getting humbled.
Where you kind of reset and then boom, here we go. We're on a run. Kansas City did it last year. So the fact that they have some struggles is not necessarily a bad thing for them in the long run.
And all those other teams that look better than them, when they get in the playoffs and you're sitting there and you're like, okay, if they win and they're all right, they're the one, we got to go to
no matter what.
We got to go to Kansas City.
What'd you say?
They say, fudge. We got to go to Kansas City.
Think that's what Devin said.
I get everything.
That's what they think. They're scared to death.
But are you guys telling me? You guys are telling me that you're not worried at all about Kansas City? That just like, no big deal. Like, I'm saying, yes.
Well, remember, I didn't pick them to go back to back. I didn't pick them to go three-peat. I just think it's hard to guarantee that somebody's going to go take the game away from them in the playoffs.
Josh Allen is the only guy that took a game away from them at all this year.
Period, yes.
He's the only guy that short-circuited we're going to find a way to win the game. And if he goes into Arrowhead in January.
Now we're diving into another epic Patrick Mahomes moment that has fans buzzing. Did you catch Sunday's thriller against the Panthers? Mahomes once again showed why he's the man for the big moments, leading the Chiefs to their 5th walk-off win this season. Stick around to hear all the details and let us know in the comments. Are these nail-biters making you love the season more? Or would you prefer some stress-free wins? Let's break it all down. All right, let's set the stage. The Chiefs were losing with a 22-6 lead. Sounds comfortable, right? But in true NFL fashion, things got intense. The Panthers' rookie QB, Bryce Young, decided to light it up, leading a fierce comeback to tie the game at 27 with just under 2 minutes left. Chiefs fans, how were your nerves holding up at that moment? Comment below and let us know how you stayed calm or didn't. Enter Patrick Mahomes with just 1:46 on the clock. This is where he thrives. .com cool and collected. He marched the Chiefs downfield. One of the key plays. A clutch 3rd-and-2 conversion to DeAndre Hopkins that kept the drive alive. Let's give some love to Hopkins in the comments. How important has he been to this offense so far? Then came the moment that left fans in AEW. Mahomes, channeling his inner running back, took off on a 33-yard scramble that sealed field goal range. He didn't play it safe or slide out of bounds. He cut upfield like a champ. Tell us in the comments, was that Mahomes' best run of the season so far? After the game, Mahomes said it best. I would love to win a game, not by the very last play. But hey, Chiefs Kingdom, isn't that why we love this guy? His ability to shine brightest when the pressure's on is unmatched. His career record when leading by 14 points at some stage, a mind-blowing 59-4, including playoffs. That's elite company, my friends. Let's run a quick poll. What's been your favorite Mahomes walk-off moment this season? Drop your answer in the comments or suggest one I've missed. If you're loving this content, don't forget to subscribe to Total Chiefs News. Hit that notification bell so you never miss an update about your favorite team. Let's grow this amazing Chiefs Kingdom together and hit our next big goal, 2,000 subscribers. You're a vital part of this community, and your support means the world to us. So, what's next for Mahomes and the Chiefs? Can they keep up this heart-stopping magic all season? Make sure to stick with us for all the updates, downs, and fan takes, right here on Total Chiefs News. Thanks for watching, and as always, go Chiefs!